Custom shapes combined with layer styles are a great way to enhance your photos and graphic designs. And in this tutorial, we'll take a look at using Photoshop's custom shapes to create those layer effects. So getting started, I have an image right here on its own background. I want to duplicate that. Duplicate that by clicking Control J or Command J. You can see over here in the Layers panel, it just puts a duplicate layer of the same image. Go ahead and select our Shape tool, our Custom Shape tool, and it's found over here below the Rectangle tool all the way at the bottom. And from that, let's go to the top and select the drop-down picker. We want to select some options and actually add some different shapes here. You can see the default selection, the default shape tools are right here. Clicking the options arrow gives us the option to append these with some other custom shapes that Photoshop ships with. You can see that there's quite a few. Use the music category. Big choice right here. Do I want to append this or replace it? Appending means it'll just add the shapes to this current list. I've got plenty of room, so I'll click append. And let's select the treble clef. Double click that. Before I start dragging and clicking, let's make sure that we're on the paths. We've actually got the path selected, so make sure this middle option is selected for paths. And I'm just going to click and drag out. A couple options I have. I can hold down the shift key, and that constrains the proportions of the shape. And I can hold down the space key, and I can move it around. So you're really working with some really specific type positioning, you have that option right there. I'm going to drag a couple more out. There's one, a couple over here. Actually, I'm going to undo that last one. And really, just there's no method to this. Putting a few out over here. Hold the space key. Yeah, maybe that's good. Hit the V key just to get the pointer. Let's go back over here to the paths and see what we just did. We actually created a bunch of work paths, and from those work paths, we'll actually enable that selection and then take selected parts of this image right here and put it on its own layer. Let's go ahead and hold down our Command key and click this thumbnail or the Control key on the PC. You can see the marching ants right here, and that basically brought up an active selection. Returning back to the layers, we can see no effect at this point, but we do have that selection on this layer, on layer 1. And it's from this layer that we're going to pull these parts of the active selection onto its other layer. So let's go ahead and do a Command J, Control J to duplicate again. And not a lot looks like it's happened, but if we go over here back to the Layers palette and turn off the visibility of the bottom two layers, we can see that we have an active selection. We actually took parts of that image and put it on its own layer. And this is where we can actually start putting those layer styles and effects to create that effect. So let's turn the visibility back on. Let's go back to this middle layer right now, so select that. We want to create a layer fill, a gradient fill on this layer, and just sort of fade this image from white to transparent. Let's go to Layer, New Fill Layer, and Gradient. The name is fine. I'll click OK. And it looks like I was using a different gradient style because it's on the orange. So I'll click the swatch, and I don't have my black to white transparent. I must have modified it. So let's just work with the same orange one. Select this bottom swatch right here. We want to change the color, so clicking the color swatch. Let's make that white. Dragging up here in the corner. Click OK. Coming over here to the one on the far right, we also want to change that to white. And the only difference is that we're going to put it to transparent. So right up here, we want to see the opacity is 100%. And down to opacity right here is at 0. So if these aren't 0 and 100, just change them right here. You can just slide them or change them that way. But we don't want to fade that whole image. We want 0, we want completely transparent, which is what the checkered background is, and 100% opacity. Click OK. And this is fading right now from bottom up. Let's fade it from left to right. So we can drag that to 0. And we'll click OK. Go ahead and go back to your top layer, which is the layer with the treble clefs, and we'll add a drop shadow. So click the layer styles, drop shadow, and there's our effect. And of course, we could play with any of these settings all we want. You do want to modify this a little bit. I want this white to fade over a little bit more. Let's go ahead and click back on the layer thumbnail, and let's open up our gradient again. So just clicking again right here to edit it. I'm going to drag this over. See, by dragging it over, I'm actually, well, that's the same one. Move that in. I'm fading this image a little bit more over just so it looks like it's blending a little better. I really want to create more of the music on this side, show off the selected areas and then fade into the actual image. So click OK and OK, and there's our image.